Guts carries suffering that never ends. Betrayed by Griffith during the eclipse, he watched his comrades slaughtered and Casca destroyed, branded to be hunted by demons every single night for the rest of his life. His entire existence became an endless cycle of violence where rest means death and trust means betrayal. Kaneki Ken was tortured into a fractured mind. Jason's brutal sessions shattered his identity so completely that he lost himself between human and ghoul, creating personalities just to survive the agony. Every transformation after that was him breaking apart a little more, unable to recognize who he even was anymore. Shinji Ikari never asked to save the world. Abandoned by his father and forced into an EVA cockpit despite paralyzing fear, he bore the weight of humanity's survival while drowning in self-hatred. The third impact happened because a broken child was given godlike responsibility with zero emotional support. Eren Yeager became the monster to end all monsters. He committed genocide against the entire world, bearing the guilt of millions of deaths, all while knowing his friends would have to kill him. Freedom cost him his humanity, his loved ones, and any chance of redemption. Itachi Uchiha massacred his entire clan to prevent civil war. He murdered his parents, slaughtered children, and forced his little brother to watch it all, then lived as a hated criminal for years. The village he saved never knew his sacrifice, and Sasuke's hatred was the price of peace. Homura Akemi watched Madoka die thousands of times across endless timelines. Each loop meant watching her best friend suffer and perish again, slowly transforming Homura from hopeful girl into cold tactical weapon. By the end, she had sacrificed her soul so many times that becoming a demon felt like the logical conclusion. Subaru Natsuki dies over and over while nobody remembers. Returned by death means experiencing brutal deaths repeatedly, carrying trauma that resets for everyone except him. He screams about his suffering, and people think he's insane because his pain literally doesn't exist in anyone else's reality. Thorfinn lost his childhood to revenge. After Askeladd killed his father, he spent years as a child soldier chasing vengeance, becoming exactly the kind of violent warrior his father died rejecting. By the time he got his revenge opportunity, he'd already lost everything that made him human. Sasuke Uchiha didn't just witness the massacre once. Itachi Tsukiyomi forced him to experience his family slaughter on loop for 72 hours. Psychological torture that shattered an 8-year-old's mind. His entire personality became that trauma, every decision rooted in that repeating nightmare.
Edward Elric sacrificed his brother's entire body trying to resurrect their mother. The guilt of seeing Alphonse reduced to a soul in armor, knowing it's his fault, drives every painful step of their journey. He lost his arm and leg, but losing Al's humanity was the real price of his arrogance. Denji never experienced real love in his entire life. Used by the Yakuza, betrayed by Makima, who only wanted Chainsaw Man, treated as a tool by everyone who pretended to care. His dream was pathetically small. Touch some breasts, eat good food, because he'd been dehumanized so completely he couldn't imagine actual happiness. Lelouch V. Batania orchestrated his own death as the world's most hated tyrant. He murdered countless people, including innocents, manipulated everyone who loved him, and became the evil emperor to unite the world against him. His sister's hatred in his final moments was the punctuation mark on his calculated self-destruction. Violet Evergarden was a child soldier weapon who didn't understand she was human. She killed on command without any emotion, then had to learn what feelings even were after the war ended. Major Gilbert's final words, "I love you," haunted her because she couldn't comprehend love while her hands were still covered in blood. Kakashi Hatake watched everyone he loved die violently in front of him. His father's suicide, Obito crushed, Rin dying on his Chidori, Minato and Kushina sacrificing themselves. Survivor's guilt became his entire identity. He wore a mask long before he got the Sharingan because showing his face meant showing his pain. Okabe Rentaro failed to save Mayuri thousands of times. Each timeline meant watching her die again, trying desperately to change fate while slowly fracturing under the weight of memories only he carried. Time travel became his prison, and every loop carved deeper scars into his psyche. Light Yagami descended into paranoid madness chasing godhood. The Death Note corrupted him so completely that he sacrificed his father, manipulated Mrs. Love, and murdered anyone who threatened his reign. By the end, the brilliant student had become a pathetic creature begging Ryuk for his life.
Hyakimaru was born as a sacrifice to demons, robbed of his body before his first breath. His father traded his eyes, ears, skin, limbs, everything for prosperity, leaving him an incomplete existence hunting for pieces of himself. Every body part reclaimed meant rediscovering pain he'd never known existed. Itadori Yuji became a vessel for the king of curses and couldn't control the massacres. Sukuna used his body to slaughter innocent people in Shibuya, while Yuji could only watch from inside his own mind. The guilt of those deaths crushed him, because his hands did the killing even if his will didn't. Megumi Fushiguro believes he's worthless beyond his inherited technique. Gojo saved him only because 10 Shadows was valuable. His father sold him for gambling money, and his sister's curse proved even family wasn't safe around him. He sees himself as a tool whose only value is tactical, never worthy of being saved for his own sake. Nico Robin was hunted as a child for simply existing. The world government destroyed Ohara and put a bounty on an 8-year-old, forcing her to survive by betraying everyone who showed her kindness. For decades, she believed she deserved to die because her existence brought only suffering to others. Gojo Satoru suffers from isolation of absolute strength. Being the strongest means nobody can stand beside him as an equal. Every relationship fundamentally unbalanced by the power gap. His best friend's betrayal and death proved that even genuine connection couldn't bridge the loneliness of being too powerful to relate to. Shoko Nishimiya internalized every moment of bullying into self-hatred. Deaf from birth, tormented by classmates, she genuinely believed she was a burden whose existence hurt others. Her suicide attempt wasn't dramatic. It was quiet acceptance that the world would be better without her. Rei Ayanami isn't fully human and knows it. A disposable clone designed to pilot and die. She has no identity beyond her purpose, no past beyond the tank she came from. Even her soul belongs to someone else, making her entire existence borrowed and temporary. Griffith sacrificed the Band of the Hawk for a dream that had already tortured him. A year of brutal torture broke his body and dreams, and the eclipse was his choice to murder everyone who loved him for a chance to rebuild. His suffering was self-inflicted, but no less devastating. He chose damnation over admitting defeat.
Sarah's Victoria watched her parents murdered by criminals as a child, then became the vampire who saved her. Alucard's bite was merciful compared to what would have happened, but it meant living as the monster, drinking blood, losing her humanity. Her suffering was choosing between death and becoming what she feared. Mob Kageyama suppresses all emotions because his power could kill everyone he loves. One outburst as a child hurt his brother, so he decided feeling anything was too dangerous. His psychic abilities became a prison where joy, anger, sadness, all of it had to stay locked down or people would die. Legoshi hates himself for being a carnivore in a world where that means monster. His instincts scream to hunt and kill, especially around Haru, making every moment of connection a battle against his own nature. He sees himself as a predator pretending to be gentle, always one moment from proving he's the beast everyone fears.